to live videos or not. Just give me a sec here. Just give me a sec. I have a feeling this isn't right. Oh no, someone's here. Just seeing if hello there. Just seeing if I've joined the correct live stream or not, because I have a feeling I might not have. Oh, there's a couple of people here. Just let me know in the chat if this is working for you guys, if you can see me, and also if the chat from before is still there. Hello, Jay Jones. I'm still figuring out a few things about the live chat, and my Mac, which is a fancy MacBook Pro, will not open Chrome even with restarts and stuff, which is obviously super annoying. But as long as we can get together and hang out, I'm happy. Let me just see how this is all working. We'll get there. I'm not particularly bad with tech, but the YouTube live is a little bit counterintuitive, or I'm just doing something super wrong. And super wrong. That off. All right, I think we're good now. Amigo, this is a new stream. We don't see you on the other one. I apologize for that. I am obviously trying to get into the other one. Can we bring the people from the other one into this? I know that's super weird, and I know I guess the name of the game, that's why we're doing this, is to try and learn how to do it and get better at doing it. But it's not my finest work, is it? Let me jump in the other one. And hello everyone, by the way. A few people starting to turn up. Welcome. We will have a good hang today. Let me just try and sort a few little things out here. Thank you for the support. Thank you for putting up with me. We've got a couple good questions already in the previous chat, so it's all going to be good. We're going to talk about improvising in C minor. That's one of the first requests I've had. And if anyone can suggest other questions, that's what we're going to do. There's a lot of mess going on here. If someone's in that other live stream that's scheduled, please tell everyone to come over here. I know that's super awkward and super stupid, but it really doesn't let me get in. I know some people use like specialized software for live streams, which I didn't think you should need. And like I said, Google Chrome just won't open on my Mac. And that's not the best thing that's ever happened to me, but I did a restart, I re-downloaded and reinstalled. DL the Menace, hello there DL, I hope you've been practicing. Less chatting, more practice. You guys know that that's my motto. That's the last one from before. There is a new stream yet. All right, one sec. Hi guys, cause I am tech incompetent apparently. Hi guys, because I'm struggling with tech, I've started a brand new live stream. Please abandon ship here and come to the new one and we will get started. Cool. All right, we've got a few people in here. Thank you guys. Welcome. Hello. I'm just going to give it a sec so the people from the previous live stream, which was the scheduled one, can jump over. Same as the last one, I'm somehow struggling with the schedule. We won't talk about that anymore, but this is what we're going to do. I'll just quickly read a couple of the comments and questions from the scheduled one. That's how we'll start, and then fire away with questions and the rest, and we'll get this happening. So this is a perfect question, exactly the kind of thing that we can do. Hope all is well. Person's name is Fortunate. I hope you can give me some tips and advice on how I can solo on a backing track using a scale. Great question. I have learned my first scale, pentatonic C, I think it says major. I'm expecting it'll be minor, but find it hard to solo. Thanks in advance. My pleasure. Trip T, Cymbeline Wood has questions but didn't ask them. Nick Kostos, greeting Nick. several questions about creating melodies. That seems to be a popular question, so we'll do that. And hopefully there's a few people here in this new live stream. Now, I am going to join this new live stream on my comment feed here. I have a feeling people more intelligent than me are better at doing this than me. All right, we've got a few amigos here. Okay, C major / A minor, good. Let's start with you, Fortunate. I apologize in advance, anyone who I messed around with technical things. Next time I do this, I won't be locked in a quarantine hotel room. I will be in a more comfortable position. All right, improvising in A minor. Now, I expect most of you know the A minor pentatonic scale. If you don't, it's your lucky day. Just very quickly on the strings, we're going to start from the low string, 2 notes per string. 5 8 5 7 5 7 5 7 5 7. Sorry. 5 8 5 7 5 7 5 7 5 8 5 8. Backwards 8 5 8 5 7 5 7 5 7 5 8 5. Good. All right. Now we've had some questions. Now the minor pentatonic is really useful. That is an A minor pentatonic. It starts on the note A. So if we play a 5th fret A minor bar chord, or an open A minor chord, or a chord progression in A minor, we can improvise using those notes. A very easy way to think of improvisation is simply playing the notes of a scale out of order. That's a really good way to get started. The question was about soloing with backing tracks. I think I'm going to suggest, if you're struggling that much, or even struggling, if it's not coming naturally, I think the first thing we're going to do is actually turn the backing track off. We're going to just focus on our guitar playing for a second here. Something I love to do with students or with friends, with anyone, trading licks back and forth. Now, because you might be practicing on your own, you might have to trade licks back and forth with yourself. Let me show you what I mean. There's multiple ways to do this. One of the basic ones that I love to do, I'm going to divide my guitar into the low strings, the 3 lowest strings, and the 3 highest strings. I'm going to improvise very, very simple melodies from the A minor pentatonic. The first lick will be on the low 3 strings, then the high 3 strings, and I'm going to have a little guitar conversation with myself. It doesn't have to be tricky or technical, and I'm going to get rid of the pick, so a bit slower, and let's just have a little guitar chat. That's a nice little low lick. Do a high lick. Fine. Back to the low strings. You'll notice I'm kind of deliberately trying to have some kind of conversation between these notes. So I might copy the rhythm. I might go. So it's like da 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 da. Then I might go da 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 da. Someone says I'm not able to see your guitar properly. Maybe the camera. Okay. Let me just see. That's a bit annoying. I mean, on my I've got it on portrait mode, but it should be pretty much in the middle of the screen there. Is everyone else seeing my guitar properly or not? I'll just wait for a couple more comments to come in. On my screen, on my computer and my iPhone, the guitar is pretty much in the center of the screen, so it's about as visible as I'd expect it and hope it to be. So I'll keep going for a sec. I'm sorry, Trip T Cymbeline Wood, if you're struggling, please maybe be a bit more detailed about what you can and can't see. Other people saying I couldn't see it without closing the chat box. Okay, let me try and go landscape here. How's this? Orientation. Look, give me a sec here. This is how's that? Vid all good. Nick Costas, that's my kind of guy. Nick Costas is my kind of operator. I feel like I might be sideways now. The video is not clear. You might be a little close to the camera. How's that? Is that any better? We'll try and make this work. I'm going to keep playing my A minor blues conversation in the meantime. And I apologize if the internet's not good. You can basically just thank the Telstra, our great Australian telecommunications company, that we have shocking internet in Australia, which is a real shame. This is better, that's good. I'm doing my best. Thank you guys for being patient and being supportive and being cool. So I think you get the point about basic almost guitar conversational. So we're thinking about licks. I'm thinking about these minor pentatonic licks, almost like a sentence. You go and see your friend. Hi, how are you? I'm great, thank you. What are you up to? Not much. Almost like a bit like a conversation. That's just really basic improvisation. And then writing melodies, which was a common question last live stream as well. I wasn't aware that so many people were A, interested, and B, struggling in writing melodies, but that's what this is all about, that we can learn from each other. Unfortunately, YouTube doesn't turn the video because you started the stream in portrait. I'm so sorry, guys. If, yeah, forgive me for these learning teething difficulties. Tell me in the chat if this is working. I get that the video's going all crazy, and if you need me to start another live stream, I will, with proper portrait orientation. I'm doing my best. If we need to start a new live stream, that's fine. If there's a way to rotate it on YouTube, maybe someone can put in the comments how to do that. I'm here to do my best, basically, so let me know how we can do it better. In the meantime, I'm going to keep talking about writing melodies. I'm okay, good. It sounds like some people are having different streaming experiences, so I just hope most of you are having a reasonably good time. Hi, RK Roy. You're right in the middle of, we're right in the middle of a little melody discussion here. So, after starting with improvisation, like I said, you want to improvise with backing tracks, but we're just going to take a step back. We're going to turn the backing tracks off for now. These licks, they become your melodies. A melody doesn't have to be hard or technical. You might just go. And often when I'm writing melodies, I will try to make them have some kind of conversational element where there'll be a first half and a second half to the melody, or multiple, more than two parts. But let's start with two. So there's the first half. And you might want to be thinking about that kind of idea when you're writing. Another thing that could be really good with the melody is putting a gap in it, so there's a clear stop. It's definitely easy when you're improvising to just kind of noodle around. We all do it, and there's nothing wrong with it either. Nothing wrong with just playing around, just kind of just jamming on the guitar. But those are, in my experience, tend not to be the best melodies that I write or the most memorable. Another really good tip that I found works really well for me is write things that you can sing. If you think of any of your favorite guitar riffs, I'm sure 90% of you will agree your favorite guitar riffs, or the greatest guitar riffs. Let's say greatest guitar riffs, you can sing them. Smoke on the Water. Ba, 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 ba. Iron Man. Da, do, da, do, do, so on, so on, so on. If you can sing what you're playing, I reckon there's an increased chance that it's actually pretty good. So you'll have to excuse my singing voice, obviously, but you might just go. Do da da da, dee da da da, dee da da da, do da da da, do da da da, dee da da da, dee da da da. I never sing, I never sing. This could be a melody. Hope you get the point. Play very simple melodies. That might be the first time I've ever sung in public, but maybe that helped a little bit of basic improvisation that turns into easily memorized, easily communicated little bits of music. Start getting go with that, and then you might want to put your backing track back on. And once again, start slow. And some of those backing tracks are wild. They've got like cymbals and trumpets and castan. I don't know what. Some of them are like really well produced and quite dense. And so you're coming in to play the guitar, and maybe you're a beginner guitarist, and there's a whole lot going on. Maybe just play more. If there's all kinds of stuff going on, you might just go. leave spaces. So the backing track's still playing right now. The backing track's playing. I know when I'm playing with Calidad, even though that's only a 3-piece instrumental group, so there's not a lot of chaos in the music. It's pretty sparse with just 3 instruments. But I'll still leave space, so I'll play something, and then I'll take my hand off my guitar to represent to myself the music has space in it. So you'll notice that each of those licks I just played was very short and self-contained. I took a little break, a little breath. Think like talking, you take a little breath. Breathe. 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 So hopefully that helps as well. And guys, start typing the next questions because I'll finish up this this little section. And so whoever gets in with a good question next, I'll answer that question next. When you start some nice, simple, basic stuff, I have zero doubt your melodies will get better and better. And the other great thing to do, I love blues music. Find some blues and just get some licks from the blues. White Stripes are brilliant because the music of the White Stripes is very, very simple, but quite brilliant, and a lot of it's in minor pentatonic. So I love to learn, especially when I was a bit younger, but still learning White Stripes by ear because it tends to be very easy and very good. Rage Against the Machine have an amazing amount of actually blues and pentatonic riffs and licks. I love my blues, so like John Lee Hooker's one of my favorite bluesmen. His stuff's a bit less kind of, maybe a bit less diatonic in that there'll be more unusual stuff going on. But so learn stuff by ear, learn licks, that becomes your vocabulary. So if we're going to use the metaphor of improvisation as speech, but in a new language, so we're all learning a new language together, this guitar language. If improvisation is a kind of speech, the licks are a kind of speech, then learning licks is a vocabulary, whether you write them yourself. But why the hell wouldn't you go and find the best guitarist in the world or your favorite guitarist and learn some of their licks? So that's a really great thing to do. Have we got some questions? A request if you could include some blues lessons in your everyday listens videos. I will. I know there is plenty of blues on my channel. I do love blues. I guess the reason the channel has evolved how it has, the same way my personal guitar style has evolved how it, just because there's like that kind of Spanish, like really basic Spanish thing seems to connect with people because a lot of it is based on more complex forms of music such as flamenco, but I won't say dumbed down, but maybe I found a way to distill some of the interesting parts of certain unusual kinds of music in a really basic way, and that seems to be what people respond to. So that's why it's mainly on the channel, is that easy stuff. And whenever, so, you know, I do a lot of different videos, blues stuff, electric guitar stuff, metal stuff, but every time I do like beginner Spanish guitar song #1, it always gets, you know, triple the views. So people like it. People like the simple Spanish stuff. But I will do more blues. Thank you for asking. And whatever you guys ask for, I will do. I'm here to hang out. Tips, examples for some Spanish licks melodies. Good question. Okay. I'm trying to think of something that I was not kind of treading over ground, that because I do this kind of stuff a lot. Let's do some basic Spanish stuff. So we're going to go to Old Faithful A minor chord. There's a question actually I wanted to ask you guys as well, and maybe answer in the chat for me. How many of you use capos? Because I've started to use it more and more in my own playing, but I don't use it much on the channel because just in case people don't have a capo. So maybe just let me know if you guys have capos or not. And if enough people have them, we might talk about that a little bit. But we're going to do A minor. So this one's for DL the Menace. Good old faithful A minor chord. And what we're going to do, we're going to slide, because sliding's cool, up to the 5th fret, and I'm just going 5, 5, 5. Now that's an A minor chord, 5, 5, 5 on the G, B, and E strings. Some of you will know this, others might be having their mind blown. The notes there, those 3 notes, are C, E, and A. C, E, and A, or A, C, and E are the notes that make up an A minor chord. When I play this A minor chord, the A string, that note is an A. The 2nd fret of the D string is an E. The 2nd fret of the A string, sorry, the 2nd fret of the G string is an A. The 1st fret of the B string is a C. And the open E string is obviously an E. Even though there's 5 notes being fretted, the only notes being played are A, C, and E. We come up here to the 5th fret, we've got C, E, and A. So that's in every way a valid A minor chord. So let's start our lick like that. What I love to do is what I call a partial arpeggio. So these notes A, B, C on the top string 5, 7, 8. We've got the A, B, and C. So A and C you'll recognize from C, E, A. Remembering again A, C, and E as the 3 notes that make up an A minor chord are notes that you can rely on in A minor. You can in any key of music you can rely on your root note, your 3rd, and your 5th. In this case, A is the root, C is the 1/3, and E is the 5th. So this little partial arpeggio ABC, it basically contains the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of A. So anyway, one of my favorite things to improvise with. There's a little lick in itself. So we can play that. So that's 8, and then that's 7, 8, 7, now 7, 8, 7, that little flourish. So you just hold down at the 7th fret, and then you hammer to the 8th, and pull it off quickly. That's called a trill. When you hammer on and then pull off straight away, that's your trill. That could be a fun little arpeggio. So that kind of thing can be cool. And whenever I'm doing that 5, 7, 8, almost instinctively I'll do 10, 8, 7. I love to go, if I'm going up, it's kind of like, I guess, you know, balance. Obviously there are exceptions to everything I say, obviously. Everything in music has exceptions, but as a general guideline, especially if you're a more beginner player, if a melody's going up, I'll come down afterwards. If it's going down, I'll come up afterwards. If I'm playing fast, I'll play slowly afterwards, etc. So, 10, 8, 7. So we were heading downwards, we might go up, 8, 10, 12. And just like we did that trill before on the 8th fret, I might do a whole bunch of trills. 10, 12, 10, 8, 10, 8. That could be a fun little lick for you guys. Hopefully something like that is a little bit useful. And another little Spanish tip is like, whenever you play an E note, I often will play Spanish in A minor or E, or both, or if I've got a capo on, which we're talking about, whatever is the version of that. But if you're hitting the E note, almost instinctively I'll hit the F note as well. So that 12, 13, 12 idea. And that works well with an open E string or an open A string. So that's a quick little throwaway Spanish lick. I hope that helped. I'll move on to the next question, but there was enough musical DNA in what I just showed you then that you can chop and change that at will and make something cool. So good luck with that, and thank you for a great question. Someone said, Trip T, Cymbaline Wood. I remember in your last live stream you were talking about taking some flamingo lessons. How did that go, and could you share some of your insights? Thanks. Yes, I took a flamenco lesson this morning. A brilliant YouTube channel which I recently discovered called Flamenco Maps. He's a French guy who now lives in New York but spent many, many years living in Spain. And I find him to be the best English-speaking flamenco YouTuber I had found. And I reached out to him very, very recently because I'm in this hotel quarantine. I've got plenty of time on my hands. And after watching a number of his YouTube videos, I reached out and actually got my own guitar lessons for the first time in probably about 20 years, which has been really fantastic. I had one today and I've actually got another one tomorrow because I've got so much free time. I won't necessarily play. Oh, okay, I'll show you one chord that he showed me, and I was just like, what on God's earth is that chord? So that's 6th string 1st fret, 5th string 1st fret, then the next two are open, and then 1 and 1. I'd never seen or heard anything like that before. I've showed you guys this before, and anyone who's followed my channel for a bit, when we take the A major chord played with one finger and just do the 3rd fret of the G string, so it's that kind of dissonance. He was combining that kind of idea with that. You can see I only learnt it today because I haven't even mastered the chord change. Let me show you this though, because I am struggling with that chord. I haven't really had much time to practice it yet. But let me show you what I do if a chord change is not as quick as I want it to be. So in this case, I'm obviously strumming from my low strings to my high strings down to the floor, just a very normal strum. I happen to be using my thumb. It wouldn't matter if I was using a pick. The point of what I'm trying to say is if I can't get all 4 of my fingers into position quickly enough, which in this case I can't, hopefully by, I'll do a practice session tonight, and hopefully by tomorrow I can get them there pretty much instantly. But here's what I'm going to show you. If I want to play that chord, but I know I'm not quite quick enough yet, I'll play the low strings, and I'll do a nice slow strum, just to get a split second to get the high strings down. See that? I don't have time, or I don't have time. All my fingers made it. My high fingers are a bit late. Oh, but they got there in time. So when you, even if it's, let's say, a C major chord, see how the high string, this finger here, I let it be a split second late. Now I'm exaggerating here because obviously I can play a C chord reasonably quickly, but that kind of idea, a G7. So if you're gonna play chords and the changes aren't that clean and you can't, this is probably more likely to apply to people with bar chords, but if your chord changes aren't as clean as you want, you can start at the low strings and roll onto the high strings, and you just get a tiny fraction of time, and you just got to stay a tiny bit in front of that strum, but there's a tiny bit of space and time as the strum comes down. There's a little bit of time to get the top of the chord. So that might be a useful little tip for you guys. And I'm definitely taking my own advice right now when I play that chord, because I just need a second to get it into place, because it's so unusual to be fretting all at the 1st fret like that. But that's something I walked away from my flamenco lesson today with, so thank you for asking. But the main thing I asked, I'm terrible with French accent, but Guillaume or Gilly, the main thing I asked him was to give me a kind of structure of how to, I said my goal is to like just walk into like, a club in Spain or a cafe or a bar, and someone starts to sing flamenco, and I want to have the ability to pick up the guitar and play along with that. So that'll be a long process, which will require a huge amount of work and a lot of lessons and a lot of YouTube and a lot of everything. So, and a few trips to Spain, which right now I'm not even legally allowed outside of this hotel room. So that'll be a while. But yeah, the lesson was really good. So thanks for asking. No capo here. Nick, where's your capo, mate? Usually use capos when I'm playing chords and singing songs. Excellent. Okay, we won't use the capo just yet. Have you heard of Kai Narezo? I have. He's got a great YouTube channel. You guys check him out. I just found that Kai, for my taste, was a bit more technical than me, and a bit more, he's basically a bit more civilized than me. His music is a lot more polished and a lot more high quality, and I wanted rougher and more basic. I was really looking for the absolute, I was looking for like the deep core of the most basic information to build from, whereas he is presenting music that's already, in my opinion, beautifully polished, beautifully expressed. It's basically too good for me, let's put it that way. But Kai Narezo is fantastic, and that's another great YouTube channel worth checking out. And if any of you guys have got channels to check out, recommend them to each other. It's all about a bit of a community. So if anyone's got something that's useful to them, chuck it in the comments and I'll check them out as well. Shivam says, hello, sir. Hello, sir, to you, Shivam. Thank you for being here. Welcome. So good question. Nick Costas. Nick's the MVP right now. Nick's coming up with the questions. If the blues uses the 1-4-5 chords, is there something Latin music does? Well, Nick, Yes, there absolutely is. And a lot of what I'm about to show you is the core of a lot of the basic stuff on my channel. One of the most obvious chord progressions. I'm going to use a capo, even though I know you don't have one, Nick, just to mix it up for everyone. Let's chuck the capo at the 3rd fret. The chord progression is just going to be E to F, E major. And even though the capo's on the 3rd fret, I'm well aware that's no longer an E major chord because we've used the capo, but I find it so much easier to just keep calling it E, even though the capo, it's sounding as a G because the capo's at the 3rd fret, we're just going to call it E. E major to F. Couldn't get any easier than that, Nick. That's the most basic sound we could come up with. And the most kind of famous one from flamenco is the Andalusian cadence, A minor, G, F, E. Apologies to those of you who have heard this stuff on the channel before, but there's always time for a refresher anyway. Now that's a G major chord. You can also play G7, A minor, G7. F can be a full F bar chord, or what I call flamenco F, which is either with the 2 higher strings ringing open, so I'm just fretting 1, 3, 3, 1, and then the open B and E string. Or you can also take the finger off the low E. Or you can put the finger on and off the low E. That exact sound is actually in a song we're working on with Calidad. We're working on a song called El Capo. Use that kind of sound and then to the E. So that's a pretty classic chord progression: A minor, G, F, E. Another one, so D minor, C, B flat, A. That's the same thing, it's just 1/4 higher, the Andalusian cadence. D minor, C, B flat, A, or A7. But for the D minor, what you can do is actually, where that A note is at the on the G string, make it 1 fret higher. That's actually a B flat chord. So it's just from the top, it's 1, 3, 3. But that's acceptable as a D minor in flamenco. Then you can do C, B flat, A. I'm not going to go any further into that, only because a lot of the guys on the channel have already seen this kind of stuff from me, and I don't want to get too dense today. I really do want to like a lightweight, just kind of chatting kind of session. But if there's things you're interested in, leave comments, and I will also, anything that's clearly popular will get its own YouTube video sooner rather than later. But thank you for that question, Nick. So that Andalusian cadence, which if you're calling it a 1-4-5 for the blues, Andalusian cadence is like, and I'm going to get this wrong, but I think it's just 4, 3, 2, 1. And the 4s are minor, and then 3, 2, 1 are all majors. I think that's what it is. Good question, excellent question. And then that is just one tiny basic corner of flamenco music. You use the word Latin music. Latin music spans an incredible breadth and diversity of music. So there's no doubt there's millions of amazing chord progressions in Latin music, and I also would like to learn some. But I think with any Latin music, the key is going to be the rhythm. So you're saying, what are the chord progressions? Good question. More important, what are the rhythms? And that's where you need to go find the rhythms. We won't go down that path today, and I only know a tiny fraction of the world of, I'm sure the best musicians in the world only know a tiny fraction, but yeah. Latin music, think about your chord progressions, also think about your rhythms and your rhythm families. Good question. Piston broke. I'm sorry to hear about your piston, my friend. As a 60-year-old man with arthritis, you make me sound great. I thank you. That's my pleasure. Thank you. Can you show me something circular that seems endless and hauntingly beautiful I can just noodle with? That sounds awesome. Okay. Let me think about this. Okay. Good question. Here's... I nicked this off a YouTube video, so here we go. They were talking about film soundtrack music, and they basically said you can take any major or minor chord. I'm going to choose a B minor. You can take any major or minor chord, and you can move it up or down a major or minor third indefinitely. So a minor third is 3 frets, a major third is 4 frets. I'm going to take this chord, I can just move it 3 frets, then I can move it 4 frets, then I can move it 3 frets again, and you do get that kind of hauntingly beautiful sound. Now, the YouTube video that I, learnt this from mentioned that it was used in the soundtrack to the Hobbit films, which I thought was really interesting. But by taking any major or any minor chord, and I hope you guys are picking up your guitars and doing this yourselves, because it works almost like magic. You can take any major or minor chord and you can move it up or down 3 or 4 frets. And when you get to your destination 3 or 4 frets away, you can play it as a minor or a major, and you can basically keep doing that all day long. I find that quite remarkable, and it goes against anything I had known about music theory, songwriting, chord construction. It breaks any rule I've ever been aware of, up until I learnt it and discovered to my true astonishment that that is hauntingly beautiful and really cool. Now, I happen to be playing along the 5th string right now, but it works on the 6th string, and I could jump between the strings as well. I just didn't want to confuse you guys too much, but so that's a G minor chord. I'm going to move up 3 frets to change to major. I'm going to move up 4 frets and change to minor. So those are your simple rules there. So there's an idea for you, Mr. Piston Broke, although now that you mention it, if arthritis is involved, it might be, I don't know how painful bar chords are with arthritis. Here's another idea. Open A string. Open A string, and on the D string, the notes I'm going to give you, 7, 9, 10, 12. Let's start with those. So that's just a really basic starting melody, 7, 9, 10, 12. We can expand it with the 14th fret. So there's some really fun notes there. And I find that constantly going back to that open low string, I know for me, feels very almost like meditation, or we call it a pedal tone or a drone note when you continually play the same string or the same note again and again in between other notes. That's called a drone or a pedal. So quick recap for those of you who are still on board with this little melody. The notes I've already played and shown, 7, 9, 10, 12, 14 on the D string. And then if we go down, you could go 7, 5, 3, 2, and you could do 0, 2. So there you go, Piston Broke. Maybe that works for you. I tried to give you something endless and hauntingly beautiful that you can just noodle with. You've got your Hobbit soundtrack, 3 fret, 4 fret, major minor kind of thing. And that kind of pedal tone kind of idea. So keep the questions coming, guys, if anyone's interested. And we will just do a short session today. Honestly, I appreciate you guys being here. Just a bit of an alleviation from the tedium of being in this hotel quarantine. It's been almost 2 weeks now. I haven't been able to leave this room. I get out in 2 days, and YouTube has been. I mean, my beautiful wife's here as well, so we've had a good time together and plenty of good chats and plenty of good times. But there's plenty of hours in the day when you're not allowed to leave the room, and YouTube, in all its forms, YouTube videos, YouTube Live has been something really cool. So I thought, what the hell? I'll go live and see what happens. Here's a great question. Dustin Parfrey, how do you do the hand thing with your right hand? I don't know how to describe it. Is it this one? No, it's not. It looks like you just shake it and hit the strings. That's the best description I've ever heard. I think it's this one. Love the description. Forgive my bad accent, but rascuedo, I believe, is how the Spanish say it. That's the one. I call it a triplet. I learned that exact technique. I want to give credit where it's due. Rodrigo and Gabriela, two of the greatest guitarists ever, and definitely two of my biggest inspirations. On one of their very, very early albums or EPs, whatever it was, it came with a DVD, and like somewhere in that DVD, maybe there was like a live concert. Anyway, somewhere in there was a guitar lesson. Gabriela explained that technique. I practiced it for a very, very long time to get it right, and I was mortified as I started to show it to people, and everyone seemed to pick it up a lot quicker than I did. So I'm happy to pass it on. But I just want you to know it took me months to get it right, and I've seen people get it pretty quickly. So that kind of sums up my guitar journey. Everything's always taken a long time for me. Okay, and so the way I'm teaching this is how Gabriela taught it, basically. So credit to her. Middle two fingers are going to act as one big strong finger. So let's just practice that. Nothing particularly interesting is happening yet. They're just acting as one big strong finger. Now it's a triplet, so there's going to be 3 strikes. We're going to go down with the fingers, then the thumb goes down, then the thumb goes up. Fingers, thumb down, thumb up. Fingers down, up. Fingers down, up. Fingers down, up. Somewhere, it's hard to do it smoothly, but somewhere, fingers down, up, it becomes... Somewhere in that repetitive movement, you keep practicing it and it becomes that rascuedo. Obviously a lot of practice. One little tip I'll give you is that when I was learning, I was a bartender at that time. I was working in King's Cross in Sydney in a place called Zachary's. I was a bartender, so there was quiet moments behind the bar. I would just fingers down, up, fingers down, just on my hand. I would just practice that movement. So you don't need the guitar to be there. Fingers down, up, fingers down, up, fingers down, up. I would sit behind the bar when it was boring or there were no customers. I spent a lot of time doing it slowly, so don't rush it. But just that movement, and then it becomes quite quick, and then it becomes quite instinctual. So maybe that helps. I do have some videos on the channel in more detail about that, worth checking out. Another funny thing that happened is I showed my friend Harrison, who I was playing music with at the time, that technique, and I'd been working. I was like, "Look, Harrison, you know, I've got this cool triplet kind of thing going." He's like, "Oh yeah." And then he developed his own triplet, which is another way of doing it, which is the Spanish, just kind of first finger, second finger, third finger. I do this sometimes. I don't do it that much, but I might do it if I'm doing like... So I'll do the triplet. It's just first finger, pointer finger, middle finger, ring finger. I'll usually do that if I want to be going up. So my first finger is going to be nice and busy. My thumb is sitting on the guitar like a stand. It's almost like, see how my hand's got almost like a kickstand? My hand's there, anchored into place by my thumb. That first finger is going up and down, but 1, 2, 3. And Harrison, what was funny is that he said, he's like, he could basically do that. As I said, it took me many months of practice to do the rascuedo or the triplet, and he could do that pretty much immediately. And he hadn't been playing guitar for long. I was like, how the hell can you do that? And he goes, oh yeah, because I used to be bored at school and he used to flick his teeth. He used to just sit in the classroom and flick his teeth, which is kind of disgusting, but that's what he did. And so he had this perfect triplet from day one. So that's a little bit of trivia there, but thank you for the question. Hopefully that helped a little bit. DL the Menace, can you show a scale like the Hungarian minor? Man, his teeth probably have fractures. Harrison Brown doesn't have teeth fractures. He's one of those people that just, I I used to call him the golden boy. He's just like good looking, blonde hair, perfect white teeth. He's just one of those people that seems to be blessed. So I don't think his teeth have fractures. I think he's got like perfect teeth and perfect everything else, just like some people seem to have. Thank you for the question. Good question. And I hope that helped a little bit. Can you show a scale like the Hungarian minor? Sure, there's some scales. I mean, you've probably heard me play the Spanish scale a million times, so that's a little bit boring. I will show you one called, let me think what it's called. Let me play it and then think what it's called. I may have forgotten the name. It's a Japanese scale. I just picked it up from wherever I picked it up from. The notes are simply E, F, or on the A string that would be 7, 8. And then on the next string it will be 7, 9, 10. And that's it, it's just 5 notes. I find it really interesting. I often play it with an A minor. So much great music is about removing things. I love to play classical music, and I realized in a lot of the really great classical pieces, what made it so distinct and so unique, because the great classical pieces have such a signature sound. You're like emotionally or melodically, that's so, they own that kind of musical space that they live in. And I realized a lot of the great classical mode, they left notes out. So whereas I have a tendency, and we all do probably as guitarists, have a tendency to play all the notes of a scale. Like if I'm improvising, there's a damn good chance you're going to hear every note in whatever scale I happen to be in. You're going to hear every note, except these days I sometimes deliberately leave them out, and this Japanese scale is a really good example of that. There's only 5 notes, so it's kind of the notes that we leave out make it interesting. So it's E, F, A, B, C, or on the A string 7, 8, and then on the D string 7, 9, 10. And I hope some or most of you guys have the ability musically to take the notes. If I say E, F, A, B, C, something that you should be aiming towards is be able to go anywhere on your guitar and go E, F, A, B, C, E, F, A, B, C, E, F, A, B, C. Find the different spots where those notes live. E, F, A, B, C. So I'm jumping around a bit now, but that's your homework for today. I told you one position of this scale, 7, 8, 7, 9, 10. So there's some interesting stuff there. 7, 8, 7, 9, 10. Lorenz Letner made it. Welcome, Lorenz Letner. Does made it mean you just arrived and you're a bit late or something like that? But welcome. I'm very happy that you're here. Lorenz, what do you want me to talk about? What questions do you have? What's going on with you? And we've got Mr. Ayush. Tell about guitar intonations. I feel like I need a little bit more information than intonations. So, Mr. Ayush, if you can tell me more information about what you're asking, that would be good. But intonation, how I understand it, is that as you move up the neck of any fretted instrument. So, and this is interesting, and you may not know this. I went to see Slash play at the casino in Sydney a long time ago. I was actually sick in bed with the flu. I never get sick, but this night I was ill. Very, very rare. Maybe once in 5 years I'm in bed ill. Lying in bed, not feeling well. Actually, Harrison, same guy I told the story about before, flicking the teeth. He rings me at about 10 p.m. and he goes, dude, Slash just tweeted he's gonna play at the Rock Lily Club at the Sydney Casino tonight. And this is a small club, like this holds about 150 people. He's like, dude, Slash just tweeted that he's gonna play in the club. Like, get your ass here. I'm like, dude, like, you know, I'm so sick, but like Slash. So out of bed, hot shower, painkillers, whatever, bang, in the car. Sat through about 3 hours of a cover band. And then just like something like, they played for like, so I'm like feeling really sick and cold, like shivering and shit. Like, I guess in the post-COVID times, you can't go out when you have a flu, but back then I was just like, I have to go to see Slash. Just like feeling sorry for myself, just waiting for these guys to finish their set. kind of like everything went dark. All the flashes started, like cameras started flashing. One of the Black Eyed Peas was there. I think will.i.am, or one of them was there. So like one of the Black Eyed Peas was there. It just kind of like turned into like paparazzi and celebrity heaven because like Slash is coming. All the light. Anyway, he came out and he played 3 songs with that band. He played Whole Lot of Love. There is a point to this story, by the way. He played Whole Lot of Love, and it's about intonation. Whole Lot of Love, Voodoo Child, and Little Wing. So 2 Jimi Hendrix and a Led Zeppelin. He played those 3 songs, and then he just disappeared into Slashland again. And I was suspecting, as I was waiting for that performance, I was thinking to myself, like, I wonder if Slash is just kind of a medium level guitarist, but because he's got all his sound systems and all his lights and pyrotechnics, basically because he's got all the trappings and production, maybe when I see him this raw, he's going to be a disappointment because he's not going to have any of his usual stuff to hide behind, and because I'm only a few meters from the stage, I'm going to be able to watch him play guitar real close. The answer was that he's an absolute master, and I saw what it means to be a great guitarist from just a couple meters away when Slash played, because he was that good and that much better than any guitarist I'd stood close to. So that was a real, I think a real positive, the fact that, you know, one of the great rock guitarists of all time is that good when he has none of his gear. He's just picking up someone else's guitar. Of course, it was a Gibson Les Paul, but I don't believe it was his own guitar, not his own amps. One of my friends was the sound guy. Moral of the story is Slash was amazing, and I saw that up close. But what I observed, that Slash bent the notes more than anyone I'd ever seen. And that included pretty much every note in that pentatonic scale. Look at my left hand, I'm bending or shaking basically every note. I'm exaggerating it now so you can see it more clearly on. I'm shaking pretty much every note. Slash was playing a less exaggerated version of that. Pretty much every note he played was the guitar as a fretted instrument. Back to intonation. If you take a string and divide it in half, it makes an octave. The guitar string is this long. You've seen people do stuff like pull a string across a fence or put it across the door. Doesn't matter how long or how short. Halfway down a string is an octave. That's where we put the 12th fret of the guitar. So go grab your guitar, go grab every guitar in your house and go look at every photo of a guitar in the world. The 12th fret is going to be halfway. That's pretty accurate. However, the way the strings work and the way the mathematics of dividing a note, so for example, the tritone, so 6 frets, if you divide an octave in half, it makes a very ugly sound, the tritone. So that's a Marilyn Manson riff there. But that's 6. And strings are divided by mathematical ratios, and then we've put the frets there. But the problem is that the different strings, the different notes of the scale, don't all match equally. So the guitar with its frets is actually never perfectly in tune. And that's what we mean by intonation. To our untrained ears and to the average person, me included, all the notes sound pretty much fine. You play your guitar, everything seems basically in tune, give or take. But after seeing Slash shake all those strings, and months or maybe even years went by, and I realized he was a masterful enough guitarist to understand that intonation, your guitar, even if you tune it with a tuner, your guitar is never 100% in tune. And that's why the best players are always adjusting pretty much every note they play. And it actually is in more tune. If you trust your ear, trust your ear. Trust your ear to use intonation, and it will actually get you further than just relying on the frets. The frets are not perfectly in tune. This is not like a conspiracy theory. The frets are damn close, but they're not perfect. You might see there's some guitars out there. They're pretty rare, and I can't think of anyone famous I've seen playing them, but guitars that have been designed with frets that are more in tune than the straight frets, and they've got these funny jagged frets, zigzaggy frets, because each fret has been adjusted. So instead of having one solid fret wire, they'll have 6 smaller ones, and you'll see that they're in these strange shapes that are clearly not straight because they're trying to make the instrument more in tune. But what we can do for our intonation is shake our notes, even chords. See, I'm playing an A minor chord there, but I'm shaking those middle strings, just a bit of a growl. And look, I'm exaggerating this for the camera and for the sound, but it's an important lesson. Your guitar's never perfectly in tune no matter what you do. So what those blues guys do and what I saw Slash do that night, really giving each note a nice little massage, will help your intonation. I hope that helped. I don't know if that was exactly what you were asking, but I ended up on a tangent anyway. I mean, we're just here to have a chat and hang out. Here we go. Tripix hexagonius. Can we freely mix all pentatonic shapes everywhere on the fretboard together, or is there a rule? Great question. Thank you for asking. First thing is that there are no rules when you play guitar. The most important thing is having fun and being creative. So even if there was a rule, I would still encourage you to break it. You can definitely mix all pentatonic shapes. Now, what I think our friend Tripix here is talking about, we talked about the standard minor pentatonic, like the blues box. We've already gone through that today, so I'm not going to dwell on that anymore. But you may or may not know there are other blues boxes. That's the most common one, but there are other shapes. I'm not going to teach you those shapes right now. They're easily enough accessible if you just look for your minor pentatonic shapes or box or something like that, or positions. You'll find that information widely accessible. And yes, you can and should mix them. But once again, I've found through experience that, in my opinion, having some kind of plan when you're mixing them makes you play better. So let me give you an example of what I mean. We might have a song and we're doing a guitar solo. Let me show you how I used to play when I was 20 years old, playing in metal bands. Okay, it's my solo, it's A minor. I would just play all over the neck, freely changing positions whenever I want, changing positions. Not much rhyme or reason, just kind of holding on for dear life, having fun, lots of energy, but no real game plan. That's the kind of thing I would play, as I said, at about age 20. Good memories. These days, I'll try and be a bit more intelligent about my playing and a bit more in control of what I'm doing. So we might start a solo in the good old A minor pentatonic blues box. You've heard me say this before. I might start with the low strings, slowly creep one string at a time. So now I'm on the third string, having fun on the third string. Time to lift it. Let's go up to the second string. Second string. Now we're going to go to the first string. To kind of climax because we've reached our highest string. Now I'm going to change positions. And I've entered a new blues box. Just remember the A minor pentatonic is those notes A, C, D, E, G. A, C, D, E, G. Anywhere on the guitar where you can play A, C, D, E, G is A minor pentatonic. A, C, D, E, G. Like I said, go grab a online, just a YouTube, or maybe even like just a static tab or PDF or something of the positions if you're interested. It's definitely good stuff. Basically what I'm saying is, yes, you can change fretboard positions whenever you want, but I like these days to do it in some kind of intelligence. I used to play in a covers band, and one of the songs we did was Time by Pink Floyd, and I learnt the solo to that like pretty well. I spent a lot of time really tried to nail the bends, just, really tried to be photo perfect of this copy of this solo. And that solo moves up the neck in a really intelligent and structured way. And I was like, okay, David Gilmour, Pink Floyd, guitar master. He's not just randomly running around the whole neck just because he can, just because he knows where A, C, D, E, and G are. And their song, Time, was in F sharp minor. Same concept. David Gilmour's not just randomly running around like that. David Gilmour is taking one box, hammering the crap out of it, moving to the next box, doing some great work, moving to the next box, doing some great work. And I've kind of adopted that kind of philosophy of you're definitely using the different shapes, but using them intelligently. So well, I just changed half and then, but you get what I'm saying. That's the 5th position shape. Then we change to the 8th. Now we've got a 10th. Up to the 12th. So there's definitely not a rule. There's no rule about how to do it, and I encourage you to do it your own way. I'm just saying as a basic suggestion, would encourage you to just have a bit of a game plan. And rather than kind of, I don't know, it's like cooking a dessert or something. You know, you might have like a bit of chocolate cake with a bit of cream on top, right? They might be your 2 different scales. Rather than just mix it together and have a kind of mushy brown thing, have like a bit of separation if you choose to, so that your music's a bit more intelligent. And then of course, rules are there to be broken. So the opposite of everything I say is applicable as well. Hopefully that helped. Tripix hexagonius. Here we go. Yash Rohila. Can you show a flamenco scale? It would be my pleasure. Cheers, Tripix. Thanks for asking. I will show you a flamenco scale. I'll do my best to show you some stuff. Okay. It's not going to be just a scale. It's going to be like a little bit of a run, a little bit of an idea. Let's do, so let's do an A7 chord. That's just the 2nd fret. 2nd fret of the D strings and the B strings. To an A7 chord. Just before I answer, Lorenz, are you doing finger stretchings? Yes, I'm doing a lot of finger stretchings. I do like these ones a lot. I do Bikram yoga quite often, which is really important. In Bikram, you actually lie your whole body down on your arms, which is really nice. Yes, I stretch, I pull my fingers out and stuff. And like probably everyone in the world, I spend too much time on my iPhone. So sometimes my hands are like in iPhone shape, and I definitely stretch my fingers, and that's important. I think anything where you're bringing your hands back is good. I shake my hands a lot before I go on stage. The Bikram yoga helps me a lot. There's your answer, basically. Hey, A7 chord. And then we're gonna put again that beautiful 3rd fret note of the G string. So that's going to be our kind of tonal center, is that really hideously ugly and beautiful A kind of idea. And here's our little lick that we're going to do. On the B, G, and D strings, we're going to go 3-2. So B string 3-2, G string 3-2, D string 3-2. Go any further, we're just going to chill with these notes for a bit. You can do some nice trills. So that's 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, da, 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 da. And then on the A string, you can go 4. Holding the tension, we're making the listener, the human ears going, what the hell is that? That's not where I want to be. What are you doing to me? So we're deliberately making it sound a bit crazy. And when we want to finish, 1-0 on the A string. And because you guys have been practicing your rasquera, and that 0-1-4 on the A string, 0-1-4. So that's a bit of fun. You can have so much fun with just a few notes. And when I want to make that like Spanishy Arabic kind of sound, I use my thumb to really snap the string. I find snapping the string a bit harder makes it a bit twangier. And if I want to make something sound a bit more exotic or Middle Eastern or however you want to call it, flamenco, I'll definitely do that. And you can definitely use those notes, obviously, for your own improvisations. You probably use the open. So I go on the A014, and then on the D023. So A014, D023, G we can do 023. There you go. And chuck in the open E string. Remember the chord from earlier today? So I hope that helped. That one was for, just checking the comments who asked that question. That was for Yash Rahila. Thank you, Yash, excuse me. Thank you, Yash Rahila. I hope that little idea helped you a little bit. Dustin's back. What has Dustin got to say? This leads me to another question. What do you think about me having my fingers sort of assigned to strings on the right hand? Am I constricting myself by doing that? Well, Dustin, definitely classical guitarists and finger-picking guitarists do assign fingers to a hand. So the thumb generally assigned to the low E string, and also the thumb often jumps between the E and the B. And then if we go pinky on the high E, second finger on the second string, third finger on the third string, fourth finger on the fourth string. By the way, I'm not very good at finger picking, so I'm very average at finger picking. I don't do it that much, but we're just talking about this question. So that is considered good technique in certain contexts, and it's definitely great. But am I constricting myself by doing that? Well, if you only do that, then definitely you're constricting yourself. For example, Dustin was the one that asked the question a few minutes ago about the rasguera, or the finger flick. I just call it the triplet. Obviously, when you're doing the triplet, you are no longer adhering to the one finger per string rule. So the one finger per string rule is no way to live a life all the time. But when you're doing your finger picking, great. So what's Dustin said? Okay, that's what I've been forcing myself to get comfortable with for about a month now, and that's good news. So Dustin, set yourself free. Be free. As I said before, everything on the guitar has an exception. So I might say to you, use the pointy end of the pick. Well, sometimes you should use the back of the pick. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, everything's got an exception. And I've always thought, like, if, let's say we go to a concert and we hear some great guitar playing, in my opinion, a brilliant player will, in the course of a performance, whether that's a jam at the campfire, playing with your mate, playing with your girlfriend, playing with your boyfriend, whatever, playing with your band, I want to hear some technical stuff. I want to hear some emotional stuff. I want to hear some fast playing. I want to hear some slow playing. I want to hear something that's easy to listen to. I want to hear something that's challenging to listen to. Some finger picking, some non-finger picking. You understand what I'm saying? Anyone that's good at something, you're going to see a balance. I don't know, if you go and see a great sportsman play, they're going to do some good defense and some good offense. If you have a good conversation with someone, they're going to say some really interesting things, and they're going to listen to you at different times. So just like the core of your style might be this finger picking kind of idea, and that's great. But for sure, your hands don't have to spend the rest of their lives just on one string. Imagine how boring that would be, spending your whole life on one string. So let the hands be free. Look, sometimes, you know, that picado kind of technique, sometimes you've got 2, 3, or even 4 fingers on one string. So in that case, I got 4 fingers on my high E string. Imagine those poor fingers if they were never allowed to leave their strings, Dustin. So free the fingers, that's what I say. Thank you for your question. Thank you everyone for your question. Thank you for hanging. We'll probably wrap it up pretty soon. I'm really grateful to you guys for helping me alleviate my boredom here in the hotel quarantine. And I've said before, I learn just as much, if not more, than you do from these sessions. That's why I do it. I get song recommendations from you guys. Sometimes someone will ask me to teach something, and I must admit to myself that my technique is seriously flawed, or I haven't practiced enough, or could be improved, or whatever. So I learn, and I thank you. Thank you for that. Dustin, I shall free them. The fingers are free. How good is that, that we tonight all together freed some fingers? That's like, you know, that's probably how like people feel like when they go and like free the animals from the farms and stuff like that. Dustin Paffrey's fingers are now free. I'm truly honoured to have been involved in the freedom of your fingers. Okay, we're going to finish up pretty soon. Music by Bridget just said fretboard. That's literally all you said, Bridget. Fretboard. I like fretboards as well, but I'm not sure. Lightning bolt frets. I'm just scrolling up about this fretboard. This mysterious music by Bridget. Bridget's just busted out the fretboard comment there. So that's a pretty big flex there, just fretboard. Like, yes, fretboard, I agree. And I thank you for being here, Bridget. Loren says, how is your streaming experience so far? It's really good. I feel good. It's helping pass the time in quarantine. And I'm learning from you guys. And like Yash said, thanks for the scales. I think scales are fun. I always thought scales were fun. And scales are music. So how do I explain this? I don't know, let's say scales are like crayons. Someone gives you 5 or 7 crayons, right? They're like your notes. Now, if you just leave those crayons lined up all the time and just never do anything but keep them lined up, well, that's boring. But if you take those crayons and start to color with them and do different things with them, move them. I'm still practicing my scale right now. These are the notes of the scale. I think it's very fun to move the melodic shapes around and stuff. I did a YouTube lesson very recently on melodic shapes. So you can check that one out. Nick Kostos, thank you from Magnetic Island, Townsville. Nick, you're from the best place in the world. I knew there was something special about you. Well, Nick, I hope you are coming to the Calidad concert on Magnetic Island on September the 18th. We have a big show, and I'm super pumped for that. The reason I'm doing this bloody hotel quarantine is so I can play shows in Queensland. Nick, I hope you can come to the show on Magnetic Island. That would be awesome to catch up. For those of you who don't know, Townsville's a town in Northern Australia. Just off the coast, they have the most beautiful, small, isolated, kind of like Paradise Island. And we go and do a concert there every year or so, and that's coming up this month. So maybe, Nick, see you there. Hey, Alfred, thanks for the tips from Amsterdam. My pleasure. I have visited Amsterdam in the Netherlands, and it's an awesome place, so my pleasure. We're going to wrap it up in a sec. Let's make this the last question. Bridget's back. Bridget's back. My question was for my left hand. How do I make enough space and make it easier so my hand doesn't hurt reaching the fretboard? Well, first thing that springs to mind, Bridget, maybe your guitar's too big for you. Obviously, I have no idea about your physical dimensions. Is it possible you're just kind of a small person and you're playing kind of a big guitar? That's entirely possible. Something to consider. I know plenty of girls that don't play full-size guitars, and it's much more comfortable and much more efficient. So you also might be young. Who knows how old you are? You might be, you might be 9 years old asking that question. So this goes. It's definitely such thing as your guitar being too big for you. Guitars are probably designed for like fully grown adult men. So there's 3/4 guitars and half-size guitars for a reason. That's an option. How do I make enough space to make it easier so my hand doesn't hurt reaching the fretboard? I guess the other thing, Bridget, is maybe I'm also going to guess you're talking about bar chords, but you can definitely, with some musical intelligence, choose, for example, to use open chords. Oh, I heard AC/DC say they're like, we just use the open chords because they're easier to reach, and like it's so funny, but it's so true. So is it, maybe have a look at your playing, is it every chord? Because I highly doubt it's every chord that hurts you. So is it bar chords? Is it 6-string bar chords? Is it 5-string bar chords? Is it open chords? Is it only when you play your big guitar, but not when you play your friend's small guitar? So Bridget, I'm sorry I can't be more helpful without more information. But the other thing is, any pain in the left hand is almost certainly coming from chord playing. So maybe play some single note melodies and see how you go. So I'm not sure if I helped, Bridget. I hope I did. I listed some suggestions there. Without more information, I can't be particularly helpful. I hope something there helped. If I had to bet, I'd say you might be too small for your guitar. Your guitar might be big, maybe. Maybe the strings need to change. I really don't know. But there's a whole list of suggestions there. Maybe something helps. What do I think about gypsy music? Well, flamenco is basically gypsy music, and I love it. And my wife is from Slovakia, and there's a lot of, I mean, gypsy is considered a kind of a slur in certain contexts, so I'm not obviously talking about it in a negative way, but yeah, flamenco is a kind of gypsy music, and Django Reinhardt, gypsy jazz, so one of my favorite guitarists, so awesome stuff there. Lots of that kind of vibe in Levocha, Slovakia, where my wife comes from. I'm about to finish up, so these are just the last little things. Yash again, do you ever listen to Opal Ocean? Yes, we have played shows with Opal Ocean. They're from Melbourne in Australia. Great band, great people. Even before they were called Opal Ocean, they had a drummer, and they were a trio called Terra. I think it was Terra, but like Terra. I've had a brain blank. I think they were calling themselves Terra. Anyway, we knew them when they were a three-piece, and then they dropped the drummer. He never fit. I could tell he didn't fit. Became a guitar duo, brilliant band. So check out Opal Ocean. Definitely mates with them. Definitely, we share a European booking agent. Great guys. Haven't seen them for a while because of lockdowns and touring and stuff. But yes, full marks to Opal Ocean. Cool. And Bridget said I might have to switch to a smaller guitar. Petite adult. There you go. That was probably at the top of my list. Yeah, Bridget, if you get yourself a smaller guitar, think about it. Everything you've worked so hard to achieve on the guitar is going to be that much easier if you get a guitar, let's say 3/4 size. So it's my pleasure if that helped a little bit. I'm going to wrap it up, guys. Cheers for being here. I can't tell you how much you alleviate my, it's not boredom, because I don't get bored. There's a lot to do, like reading and learning and stuff, but the kind of the tedium. So I'm really, really grateful. And if we can just get together every now and then and have a yarn, as long as you guys are interested and we're all learning something, I'm more than happy to do it. I really enjoy it. The other thing is with timings, because there's people on the YouTube channel from all over the world, and sometimes I'm awake early, sometimes I'm awake late. So basically I'm going to do random timings, and if you make it, you make it. If you don't, you don't. Sometimes there'll be night in Australia, sometimes there'll be morning in Australia, sometimes I'll be traveling, so it might be night in Europe or wherever the hell I am, who knows. So we're not going to set a time or anything like that. It'll just be on a vibe by vibe basis, but I'm super grateful for you to be here. I'm really glad that people are playing. I think Bridget's going to get a smaller guitar. Dustin is freeing the fingers, which is just like the greatest thing. Cheers from Thailand. Free fingers in Thailand. And all the rest of you, just cheers for the great questions. Cheers for the engagement. It's all about playing the guitar, loving the guitar, and this is not a thing where I talk and you listen. This is just a thing where we kind of collaborate and communicate. Maybe I'm a bit, maybe I'm a bit more obsessed than the average. So I've had more hours of guitar playing under my belt just because I've loved it so much from a young age. That's the only thing that, if anything, separates us. It's just that I've had more years and more hours of practice. But we're all on the same journey of trying to have a good time making some sounds. So thank you guys very, very much. I'm going to get out of here, and let's talk soon. Leave a comment, get in touch. I'll see you soon. The Patreon page exists. If you want tabs for my stuff, it's on Patreon. My band is Calidad. You can check them out. And I'm just an email or a YouTube comment away. And it's awesome to hang out, and I will see you next time. Thank you all very, 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 very much. Bye-bye.